No, 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 no. Wait, 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 wait. Wait, 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 wait.
Huh? Huh?
Adventure. A very intricate deck. This deck has two big askings of you. For one, it has the price point of Tai Kamiya from BT21. Once you got your copies of him, your other big ask for this deck is to learn its complexities and whether or not you want the deck to be more aggro focused, combo focused, or control focused. I feel like after looking at the 3 different varieties and trying out combo for this video, I feel control is the best version of adventure for a myriad of different reasons. And let's get into those reasons. You might think Angelmon is going to be the card you want to max out on. That's more true for combo and more true for aggro adventure. Control adventure doesn't play Angelmon at all. Mainly because you want your variety of level 5s out on the field. Zudomon is good for bouncing things back to the hand. Mega Kabuterimon is good for suspending targets, making sure that you can either run over certain targets or, in combination with Lilymon, bounce multiple things back to the deck. Metal Greymon helps make sure that your opponent can't just ace Digivolve, or better yet, you can de-Digivolve something from an ace and gain more memory. Skull Greymon helps you get rid of very annoying targets on the board. Those are typically the level 5s that you want to run in this deck. As for other level 5s like Garurumon and Garudamon, those are used for combo and aggro adventure, respectively. Let's talk options for this deck. Originally, in my version of adventure that I was using, I was running both options at max copies. However, after switching to control, realistically, you only want the Our Courage United in the deck. Friendship is good for searching, but ultimately it only gets you 1 card. Whereas the Our Courage United gets you 2 cards, which is great for card economy. Along with that, its delay effect, I feel, is a lot better with adventure control. Because they try to get rid of your level 5 or higher, you can immediately play a level 5 or lower onto the field. And when you play a level 5 or lower, you immediately get off their effect. You can bounce back to hand. You can bounce back to deck. You can suspend something so they can't attack. You can de-Digivolve, reversing their stack and making them have to climb back up in order to get to the level that they were at previously. Or you can play out your level 4 Gatomon and give something security attack minus. Our Courage United is without a doubt the better option for adventure, and probably the option you want to stick with. For your level 4s, you're going to want to max out on Bergermon and play Togemon at 3 copies. You'll play Bergermon at 4 mainly because of the DP boost. It's more important to be able to run over things and hit higher in security than it is to be able to defend against the opponent's Digimon. And you only play a total of 7 of the Digivolving champions, mainly because Metal Garurumon Ace can recur your level 4s and trash. So if you need to get more copies of Togemon or Bergermon, then Metal Garurumon Ace is a much better option than having to hope you draw another one of them. The other level 4 that you'll play for this deck is Gatomon. Gatomon's security effect is amazing, being able to play itself out from security. Its on play is really strong, giving 2 of your opponent's Digimon security attack -1 can make the game drag out longer, and if the game drags out longer, adventure can come on top most of the time. It's inherent to give -2k DP is also really good in case you really need to run over a body that's on the field. You'll want to max out on your copies of Biyomon and maybe play Palmon at 2, maybe 3 at the most. You want to run more Biyomons for the same reason that you run Birdramon at max copies. The higher inherent DP bonus is more important for running bodies over rather than a defensive 1k. The other reason is because Biyomon is a searcher that can grab 2 cards, whereas Palmon just gets you 2 cards by just trashing 1. And you don't want to trash all the time for your opening. You usually want to search. So with Biyomon's potential to, it's a lot better to run Biyomon over Palmon at max copies. Now then, for some floodgates that you'll want to add, you'll either add 3 Gomamon or 3 Tentomon and run the other at 2. I go for more Tentomons because of scrambles and trainings. Those cards tend to cause a little bit of an issue for Adventure, because if your opponent can accelerate the game, then you're in a bad position. But if they can't accelerate the game easily, then you're in a good position. So having Tentomon is more important for, in my opinion, keeping it so that they can't accelerate the game. Gaining memory is going to happen when they accelerate. For your big bad level 6s, you'll want to play Metal Garurumon Ace at max copies or at 3 copies, and Wargreymon Ace at most at 1. Why not split it even, or play max copies of Wargreymon Ace? The reason's very simple. Wargreymon Ace is the worst version between the 2 of them, and Metal Garurumon is the best version between the 2 of them. Wargreymon Ace offers protection and the ability to pop stuff on the board, which you think the popping would be good for control, which, don't get me wrong, it's deletion based, but Metal Garurumon Ace has bouncing to the bottom of the deck, which makes sure they can't recur it very easily, or it has to have protection from being bounced. Not only that, but Metal Garurumon Ace's ability to play out your level 4s from your trash, usually being Birdramon or Togemon, so you can get level 5s on the board very quickly and widen your board a lot more, is so much better than Wargreymon Ace's protection ability. Its protection ability is good for making sure that your opponent can't pop your stuff very easily, but Wargreymon Ace only protects from Digimon effects, not option effects. If Wargreymon Ace protected from option effects and popped, then I would say Wargreymon Ace might debatably be the better card, but in the current way that Adventure is, Metal Garurumon Ace is probably the better card between the 2 of them. For your tamers, you're going to want to run the ratios that you see here, generally being 3 Matt TK, 3 Mimi Joe, 2 Sorikari, 2 Tai Izzy, and 2 Tai Kamiya. Now then, you might be wondering, why play Tai Izzy at all? Well, all of your Venture trait will gain blocker, and having level 5 and higher game blocker in combination with the option card can be really good, even if your level 5s get deleted. Why run only 2 copies of Sorikari when you could run 3 of Sorikari and 3 Madashita and 3 Mimi Joe? Well, it's mainly for color variety. Oftentimes with Adventure, the deck does really well with 4 colors, and usually you want 4 colors out as soon as possible. In order to do that, you need only 2 tamers on the field. And with Mimi Joe, Izzy Tai, Matt TK, you're going to be more likely to get 4 colors on the field. For your egg, you're going to want to run 4 Tsunomon, mainly for the recursion. That is literally the only reason you run Tsunomon. The reason why you want to get to 4 colors is that is generally where you're going to get the most advantage out for the fewest amount of tamers of your cards. Zudomon will be able to strip 2 sources, Mega Kabuterimon will be able to suspend 2 targets. Lilymon will be able to bounce 2 targets to the bottom of the deck. Metal Greymon will de-Digivolve 2. Garudamon will be able to give your Digimon plus 4 KDP. And Metal Garurumon will be able to bounce a level 6. 4 Greymon will be able to protect 2 targets. To top all of that off, in combination with BT21 Tai, you can play up to a 7 cost. Your Megas are a 7 cost. I repeat, your Megas are a 7 cost. With all that in mind, I think that Control, for now, is the best version of Adventure. With EX9 on the horizon, and Omnimon Alter S, along with Blitz Greymon Ace and Crest Garurumon Ace, that might be the change that Adventure needs for Control to not be the best version. But who knows? We'll see. For now, toodles.